drop the Horrify into the Divine Shield, they can definitely still take this series.
So, map picks. What are you guys thinking?
I'm thinking still standard. I'm thinking either of these teams, they probably want to go to something like Cursed Hollow, possibly Team of the Spider Queen, or Towers of Doom. Predicting Cursed Hollow.
Dragonshire?
Dragonshire is where we are going, Kendrick Swish. And it's still standard, but it's flexible standard. It's rotation and globals standard. So it's a little bit different to what we just saw.
Yeah, and we also saw teams actually draft accordingly to the Battleground. As you said, globals are key here. We saw multiple Dehaka bans, which we don't really see on any other Battleground here at the Nexus game. So wouldn't surprise me to maybe see a lot more priority on heroes like Falstad, Dehaka, or Brightwing.
So reminder, guys, that you can vote for which team you think will win or which team you just want to win using the codes at the bottom of your screen. A reminder for them, if you think Sweden will win, you can use the code #SEWIN. But if you think the Netherlands will be able to take a second game in this series, you can use the code #NLWIN as we head into the draft, and it is going to be the Netherlands having the first ban.
All right, are they going for another Rhaegar ban, or do they actually let him go through this time? It really seemed to me that Zavalosh looked okay on the Uther for the most part. Would you agree? By the way, how did you like the Guardian of the Ancient Kings?
I absolutely love the Guardian of Ancient Kings. We saw how many times it got value on that top team fight where they came back and got the 2-for-1 trade that gave them the opportunity to have that fight on bot shrine. That's what saved the fight. That's what kept Sonya alive.
Yeah.
So huge, huge talent choice.
I was actually almost going to take that as a replay as well, because the 50 armor on Sonya really were crucial to not just buy enough time for the remaining team members to rally, but also, of course, to keep your main carry in the front line alive. So good.
So, Genji banned out as the first ban. Last time, the Netherlands started off with a Rhaegar ban. So, I'm switching it up a little bit this time. And by switching it up, going back to what we would usually see, Sweden looking to ban out the other reset hero.
So I think the thing that Netherlands should have taken away from game one is that as soon as Canuti was not controlling the team fight, the Netherlands started winning.
Yeah.
So that fight on top, Canuti did not get much value, didn't get a big Horrify, they won it. The fight on bot, the Horrify went onto the Holy Cow and that was it. And they won it. All they need to do is control Canuti, and I think they're the favorites for this series. So how they deal with that is going to be very interesting.
Now, what we just saw there is something that we as observers are privileged to see, whereas the Netherlands would not have seen. What we saw was Sweden hovering over the Li Ming and then banning out the Anubarak. This could mean that they want to play the Li Ming for themselves and want to remove one of the bigger counters for it.
I was just talking about controlling Canuti. Well, Anub's a great hero to do that, especially in the hands of B-Guy.
Yeah, definitely true. All those hard crowd control heroes, even Cocoon, to take one hero out entirely for a certain amount of duration is definitely a way to go to prevent really your hypercarry, your main ranged assassin from getting taken out, as Bakery said. So Anubarak, I think, as funny as that may sound, is a little bit underutilized in this tournament, don't you think?
Kind of. It's definitely one of the tournaments where he's seen the least play, but he has received a few nerfs, so it does kind of make sense.
I mean, we also have to keep in mind that B-Guy's most powerful warrior, if you will, was the Anubarak. When he played that hero, he had his best showings by far.
So we see the insta-lock. Second Tassadar was locked in for the Netherlands, Sweden, bam, bam, ETC and Rhaegar. Very happy with Henning getting that highest priority support in the form of the Rhaegar. Now the question is, what are the Netherlands going to do with this Tassadar?
They can do anything. They can do Tassadar Tracer, they can do Greymane, they can even do a Valor comp with potentially an Oriole later. They are very flexible right now. I'd like to see them pick up Mjodin to make sure they have a safe tank, and then possibly pick up something like a Sonya just to be safe in the top lane.
And this way you also hide your carry a little bit later into the draft, so you won't get countered necessarily that hard. For example, if they were to show, okay, I was going to say Tracer right now, then, I mean, now they're kind of susceptible to heroes like Cassia, though. You reduce the damage from Tracer's auto attacks for the most part. You also have the blinds available.
So, we already have ETC. Double tank is definitely still a viability here. Potential for something like a Varian, possibly.
True.
And this would also explain the Genji ban out. We've seen Tracers have issues using their H key to maximum efficiency against Genjis in previous series.
Genji is a very strong matchup into Tracer because Tracer never has kill potential than Genji, unless it's a counter gank. Genji always has a D to jump over a wall, he always has an E to fly half a screen away. Very easy to escape on the Genji.
Now, I wonder how powerful Sweden and the Netherlands actually consider Variant to be. Is it worth banning out? Is it worth picking up for the Swedish team? Or is that just a Hero League myth where everybody... I mean, truth be told, Variant is good against Tassadar Tracer. Let's not discredit him for that. But is it really good enough? That's the question I'm asking.
When you have Tassadar and a support with Cleanse, Variant tends to not be that scary. He's still strong, but basically Variant doesn't have kill potential because the Tassadar shield will take that off. He doesn't have poke potential because the Tassadar shield will heal Tracer back up, and he doesn't have kill potential because he will get cleansed on the taunt. So that's definitely something that Netherlands should consider, but they shouldn't feel forced to, and they don't.
So instead, they ban out the Grey main. Now, something you would see with Varian, cool, it's cool to take Varian and Lockdown Tracer. You want that follow-up damage, and Grey main is really good for that. He has that single target ability to engage, in fact, 2 of them, in the form of Go for the Throat, and of course, the Dark Flight. So, taking him away makes it a little bit harder for them to follow up on any damage that we might see.
The major concern I have for our Dutch team here is that they've had a lot of stuff banned out from them, and they can get more stuff picked away from them now.
Well, that's a pretty good hero for Knuddy there.
Yeah, go down picked up again. Still strong into the Tracer because of stuff like Drain Life, because of the Spell Shield, potentially at 13, but not amazing, just pretty standard.
They brought the Malfurion with them as well, though, this time. That Innovate to keep Gul'dan nice and topped up. The healing over time to match up with Rhaegar's burst healing.
So Six, who's most likely going to play the Tracer for Team Netherlands, is going to have to be extremely cautious and aware of when he goes in very deep. Because if you take a look at the Swedish team here, there's multiple counters available. There's hardcore CC available from the ETC, for example, but also, more importantly, the Twilight Dream. And when we mentioned, or when we talked about the earlier series here between Germany and Italy, which is, of course, yet to come, we talked about the playmaking capabilities of all the Malfurion players we've seen in the tournament, and I think one Silence, one Horrify, one Stun, and Tracer could really regret going into deep.
Yeah, Malfurion can keep track of when Tracer uses her rewind, then it can, recall, then it could be a huge deal. So, we see the Garrosh and the Sonya coming in from the Netherlands. Another taunt-based hero that isn't Varian in this case, being picked up already. And of course, someone who is going to pressure those low escape heroes like Malfurion and Gul'dan.
I'm not sure they actually wanted the Garrosh. We have to take into account that ETC is picked, Anub is banned, and Mjolnir is banned. So they didn't really have many options, and Garrosh seemed to be their last one, almost.
Yeah. So Garrosh is one of the ETC is one of the few heroes where Garrosh has to play a lot more carefully around, because obviously the majority of the time you hit your Earth Shatter, and then you hit your Flip. If it's an ETC at level 10, that can be a disaster for your team. So you have to stay on top of, if ETC is in your Earth Shatter, you throw that ETC away. You do not throw it into your team unless you are positive you can get the kill.
What speaks a little bit in favor of Garrosh, though, I think, is the fact that there's very limited percentage-based damage available for the Swedish team, and they're basically relying on Knuddy dealing huge amounts of AoE damage. They're trying to use CC chains to lock targets down, but in terms of tank threatening, I don't think there's a lot the Swedes have to offer against Garrosh.
We see Dahaka as the final pick, giving them that rotation potential. That's a global on each side, potentially 2 for Sweden if ETC was to go for the stage dive, as there is a reasonable amount of crowd control for the side of the Netherlands. So, we see those 2 drafts. What are you guys thinking about them? What stands out for you?
The thing that stands out at the very end of that draft for me is definitely the decision to pick Dahaka over Malthel. Malthel would have been a hero that completely dominated that top lane and could have given them the shine control, but they were too scared of the Tracer ganks, so they opted for the much safer option of Dahaka instead.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think Tracer fulfills a similar role sometimes as Genji, who can really come early into those lanes and wreak a lot of havoc, get those early kills to dominate the shrine. So I basically agree with Bakery's point here. The Dahaka looks good if you just take a look at the map here, but in terms of what the enemies have brought to the table, I don't think he convinces us.
here. And then we see, of course, on the side of the Netherlands, that very classic Tracer composition, which is almost certainly going to have to go cleanse because of their opponent's composition. But guys, I'm going to ask you for your final thoughts. Who do you think came out on top in this draft?
I think the Tracer is too risky. I'm going with Sweden.
I'm not a fan of the Tracer, but I think I'm going to go with them anyway. I want to see B-Guy make some great plays on Garrosh, and I want to see potentially 6 on the Tracer as well.
I am also going to be leaning towards the Netherlands here. I think the Tassadar shield on Garrosh, Tracer, and Sonya is going to be huge, and it's going to take a lot of good combos from Sweden to have to turn it around. But for now, we are heading into game number 2. And Bakery, who's on the left?
On the left, you have Team Sweden with Kanuti on the Gul'dan, Henning on Rhaegar, Scarf on the Hacker, Rask on the ETC, and Daikon on Malfurion.
Whereas on the right-hand side, currently 1-0 up, it's Team Netherlands. Currently running in slow motion on the Sonya, it's Dark Omicron. 6 is on the Tracer, Zavalosh on the Brightwing, B-Guy on that Garrosh, and Atmos is playing the Tassadar. And already we see a Pixie Bribe coming in from Brightwing.
A bit of an unusual talent choice, but one that we have seen pop up every now and then. Not since the rework, though. It's going to be hard to justify giving up that cooldown on the teleport.
Especially when you're chasing Tracer. Like, the only way I can justify this if he doesn't go for any teleport talent and then goes for Blink Heal. That's the only way I think I can justify that in my mind. Good throw onto Gul'dan. Is the damage output enough? Immediately, Henning and Rask move in between Sixth and Nuti, so he can't drop that melee damage. Very nicely played by Sweden.
So we saw the combo coming out from B-Guy, and then we saw how effective the Drain Life and, of course, the double support is on the side of Team Sweden. The thing we have to watch out for in this early game is going to be Garrosh getting low, getting a ton of armor, and then receiving a Tassadar shield, and the effective HP of that Tassadar shield doubling.
So do you want to explain that to people who might not know why shields on a very heavily armored target work out so well?
So shields are a fixed value. Let's say Tassadar shield is 500. Well, if that target has no armor, then that shield is going to block 500 damage. But if that target has 50 armor, then that's going to block 750 damage. It's actually huge.
As we see a lovely kill onto ETC there. But yeah, like you said, it's very effective because the shield does not add to the health, which would return armor to Garrosh, for example, but it's still affected by the armor. So it always works out nicely. Right now, we have a double altar, a double shrine available for the Netherlands, but the mid lane, they are having difficulties. Brightwing trying to deny the Malfurion with a polymorph, but Moonfire is just too low cooldown, but he's taking some damage from this.
Brightwing is not got enough damage to force the Malfurion off, but Tracer has turned up in the mid lane, and this might be enough for the kill.
Too late. They might be enough to get the kill. Though Malfurion gets away, and they lose bot shrine. Netherlands not able to get that big jump into the lead this early.
Taking control of the early game, but fantastic crisis management skills from Team Sweden. Keep them in the early game.
So Brightwing still goes for Peekaboo. The other talent options, to be fair, the other talent options aren't they're good, but they're not the best. The Unstable Anomaly or the Manic Pixie, for example, could be the other options here. But she still very much values that Vision here.
Vision definitely valuable.
Even without the cooldown reduction.
The Netherlands still in control of this early game and in control of the rotation, but they do not currently have either shrine.
Yeah, they just grab top. They're beginning to move into bot. B-Guy eating a shot there from Gul'dan. There's the throw, throwing Rhaegar, but with Dahaka, he actually was not able to get his tunnel in. B-Guy will still go down, though, even without the Dahaka. But Dahaka started the tunnel and then ate a spear for his trouble.
Yeah, well played by Dark Omicron in the top lane, and we saw how much value the Tassadar shield got, but still not quite enough to get B-Guy out. He needs to be more careful on that immobile hero like Garrosh.
Yeah, B-Guy ate just a few too many shots there, and even with Indomitable is crowd control removal. It is not, I'm going to eat all the damage removal. A 6 does take a Fell Flame there. This is a corruption build though, so not giving extra stacks over. Double channel. Sonya's going to have to defend this on her own just in time for her team. And it is enough. Good job, Sonya.
Yeah, just the one spear, good awareness, instantly leaving after that, and giving just enough time for her team to move onto the bot lane. Heading thrown in.
Yeah, but once again, Garrosh is in trouble. Atmos moves into position to get the shield to Tracer, and as such, Tracer, who was not really in any danger, survives, but everyone else dies.
The value of that Dehaka pick is shining through there as he tunnels into the bot lane and basically makes it a 5v4.
Yeah, but it's really... Oh, Tassadar going down as well. He used Dimensional Shift already. And yeah, like you said, we are seeing the Dehaka just getting kill after kill here. Turns out the best way to deal with Tracer is to ignore her and kill her team.
Yeah, the Netherlands, 2 games in a row now, it looks like their own biggest enemies are themselves. I mean, they just need to be a lot more coordinated and they need to be more disciplined. They cannot afford to be getting caught out this often.
They cannot indeed, but they do now have extra engage potential if they want to do the exact opposite and go even more ham with that extra throw, the into the fray coming in from the Garrosh. And of course, Poison Spear coming in for the Sonya. There is the throw onto Raz. He does not have Mosh Pit, so they are able to deal a good chunk of damage, but he is able to escape. Not enough burst yet.
A very intelligent use of throw there, just getting him off of the point and then using the bomb to make sure he can't stand back on it. So saving the Dragon Knight and keeping them in the game. Well played by both Six and B-Guy.
Sonya grabs top, and as such, an immediate rotation for the Netherlands into mid by Nuti. He's just going to run and clear some minions because there is nothing else he can do. He survives a very long time, though.
Yeah, but he knew there was no chance he could get out there. Garrosh, of course, had both displacements still available, so takes the option to clear the wave, make sure they can't push a tower after the kill.
But with that man advantage, very quick one, we do see the immediate move by the Netherlands onto that bottom shrine. They still have control of mid, then right wing channeling, actually gets it right before the root hits, before ETC can power slide it in. First Dragon Knight going to the Netherlands, and this is good for them because they don't have 10s yet. Otherwise, if Sweden could have started throwing their weight around and tried to grab the Dragon Knight themselves.
That was very close to being disaster for the Netherlands. They got that Dragon Knight, and this is actually going to allow them to catch back up in XP and put the game on an even footing.
We do not see that Blink heal. Brightwing committing to the Emerald Wind here. An interesting build. I'm not sure how many bribes we've seen so far, but we'll see if it works out later on in the game.
So far, I do not think we've got value from it, but there's still time, and especially in the late game on this map, once structures start going down, Vibe might be a lot more valuable.
Davalot just going to use health value from the Dragon Knight as opposed to time value, just tanks as many shots as he can and does some big damage. EDC is dodged, as is the isolation here. Polymorph and into the fray. Good disengage and good engage. Scott in danger. Emerald Wind to stop anyone getting to him, and Scott will go down, but there's the horrified Tracer gets out though with the recall.
Wow, so close. The Twilight Dream being used, but just not connecting because he managed to recall just in time.
Last tick of the horrified. That's if he'd waited a second longer, he would have been silent and killed. Beautiful play, just spamming that E button to get out.
We saw B-Guy having a mastery of the hero by the looks of it. Dehaka tunneling in, not quite landing the isolation, and then getting polymorphed, then getting queued, then getting flipped, and then obviously flipping Brightwing just before. Fantastic play, turned what looked like a bad situation into a kill, and he's done it again.
He doesn't have Twilight Dream, and as such, Mouth goes down, but Garrosh is in trouble. He indomitable most of his way through the mosh pit, but couldn't reach the other side. He goes down, making this a 1-for-1. Camp has been taken. Netherlands can just leave here, and they do.
Getting a bit too far forwards there, sadly, going down.
Still 1-for-1.
Still 1-for-1, and they do
out.
get the camp.
So we do see the Netherlands moving in to push with the double, well, almost double bruiser camp, because one of the mercenaries actually got distracted and went into mid lane due to the amount of enemies there. They're already mostly being cleared up, but that has now opened the wall, which means that the Netherlands, if they get another Dragon Knight, can try and push in there, or they can do it with bruisers later in the game.
All 5 members back up, and if we look at ultimate cooldowns, we see who actually won that trade. And I'll give you guys a hint, it's not Sweden. Every ultimate but Archon is now back up, while Mosh Pit is a full minute away.
Even Isolation is only just coming back up. So, like you said, a big deal for the Netherlands to burn that mosh pit and only get 1 kill. The fact is, Garrosh was very close to making it out the other side with that Indomitable.
Indeed, and even with the amount of armor he got and the healing he was so close to receiving, he might go out. Brightwing comes in. This is a skirmish on top lane.
Emerald win to give Dark Omicron a chance to turn this around. The drag misses, and Tahaka is doomed to die here, as Rash will also get bombed with that Singularity Spike from 6 as well. Poison Spear misses, no Power Slide will potentially get Rasped out. Yep, the keep slowing on Tracer prevents the chase from going any further.
And we see the value from globals on a map like Dragon Shire. It starts out as a 2 versus 1. It ends up being a 2 versus 2. The Emerald Wind is huge, the Burrow just too late, and the tongue missing as well. A few misplays on the side of Skull so far this game.
Got to make up for the godlike plays in the last game. We must reach karmic balance as we do see Sweden moving into the bot lane. They will be taking care of this bruiser camp and holding onto that bottom shrine. They know they can't really defend top anymore. Not with the fact that they have so many people in the bot lane. So they're just sending the Hacker up there to go back to a sort of solo style as they try and gain value elsewhere. Now, B-Guy, he is fine. He has double up as his level 13 talent, so he's going to be even harder to kill.
I think that's definitely the correct call, turning that 750 shield into something like an 875 shield or something.
Just even more value in general, as Scott, being a sneaky Zerg robot there, taking care of that top shrine. We do see the rest of Sweden staying very grouped. All the people with the big AoE heroics staying together.
Now, we've been talking a lot this game about how strong each individual side looks, and it's matching up into about a half-level lead for the Netherlands, and almost perfectly even on structures. So the next big team fight coming up is going to be almost the decider of this mid-game.
We saw the encore from ECC there, extra annoying for someone like Garrosh, whose Earthbreaker actually has a wind-up animation that can be interrupted. Is he playing with fire though? He's trying to cause harassment. Obviously, B-Guy does not want to throw Rask. Rask has Mosh Pit available. Throwing Rask is a bad idea. The Gul'dan would have been a very nice grab though, but not able to lock him down, but huge damage. And Ancestral is landed. There's the taunt by B-Guy. Here comes Tahaka, who there's the Horrify. Brightwing is the biggest target here, and the Twilight Dream. Indomitable does protect him. Tas thrown out of the mosh pit by Into the Fray. Zabalosh is dying. Tas, please help. B-Guy is still alive. Zabalosh is hoping his own healing will keep him alive. It's not enough. But now the health bars are starting to drop low. It's a 1 for 0 currently in favor of Sweden, as Dark Omicron tries to survive, but he can't do it. 2 for 0 in favor of Sweden.
The Netherlands lost that fight, but they should be thankful they did not lose it harder. Such huge plays coming out. People surviving on under 5% HP, Tetcha.
Exactly. An absolutely insane play by Garrosh especially. He did do a very nice move. The scumbag minion there getting interrupted. But we saw an insane play from the Into the Fray to avoid Tastar getting called out. Now Garrosh, though, is in trouble. He's in full retreat. Not needing to use his double up, though.
Yeah, forcing Indomitable, though, that is quite big, especially against the setup that they have with the ETC and with the boots from Myfurion.
It's the B-Guy rotating around, looking for his opportunity to potentially try and grab someone in this bot lane. Atmos just shielding towers, giving his team more protection and more time. The more time you can build this Dragon Knight, the easier time they're going to have, because they don't have 16.
They're just trying to slow it down. They need the 13 to actually fight this, and they're so close with their Brightwing on top lane.
Atmos eats all the corruption though, not dodging almost anything, and that's how it takes the Brutus affliction damage too. Brightwing teleports down, they have 16. The keep though is basically forfeit at this point. There's nothing they can do about this.
Canuti making that huge play, landing all that damage onto Atmos, secured them the keep in what could have been an even fight basically. Huge plays come out from Canuti this whole series. I am very impressed.
As am I. His Gul'dan is absolutely terrifying in this series, as we do see the rest of Team Sweden moving up to the middle lane here. They go for their bruiser cap again. Netherlands heads up play again. The push is over. Sonya's already doing their bruiser camp, and the rest of the team are stealing the Sweden easy camp. And we just saw Bribe value. Hooray!
Bribe finally getting value, but the easy camp, honestly, probably not too impactful. Gets cleaned up after just the one attack by the looks of it, so no value so far.
We see Earthshaker, one of the most terrifying talents, and one of the talents that makes Garrosh truly terrifying to go up against as a hero. where the Wrecking Ball stuns enemies near the impact, turning it from an isolation tool into a blow-up tool, and Horrify was just used for 0 value.
Horrify used to save Gul'dan's life, actually. The cleanse, though, on point from the Brightwing player.
Yeah.
And Twilight being blown as well.
It's a very good trade, but burning a cleanse for a Horrify here, as we do see an Ambitia move into that Bruise Camp in the bottom lane. 6 helping clear that up.
A cleanse for a Horrify and a Twilight beam. The Netherlands are, although they're down in XP, they're in a fantastic situation, and they know it. They're taking these night camp.
Now.
Not such a fantastic situation. Brightwing getting caught out in the top lane.
Yeah, Brightwing took Criterize as her level 16, wanting to go for blow-up instead, removing her own escape potential, at least a little. Garrosh decides against throwing Rask into his own team. Rask, though, decides to do it himself, as Tracer being forced to blink away. Sonya wrapped the Berserker, prevents the drag from lasting too long. B-Guy chucks Scott away, giving his team a chance to escape. Dark Omicron still in full retreat. The CC from Rask, though, is gonna be good. B-Guy is dying to Rhaegar, as we see Dark Omicron die. Can B-Guy escape? He's got the double up. He heals. This might last for a while. Good throw. Heading could wolf form and try and chase it down. The mount's already active, though. There's no wolf run, and that will allow B-Guy to escape.
Good uses of skills by B-Guy, of course, waiting for the Bloodlust, is it called, on W first, and then throwing him away to make sure that... Oh, Bloodthirst, sorry, yeah, Bloodthirst. And then using Wrecking Ball to throw the Rhaegar away and mounting up as soon as he does. So, well played. Good uses of skills, but... Again, they just stayed too long. They knew they only had 3 people there, and they stayed.
There's another Dragon Knight going over to Team Sweden as they begin to push in the mid lane, potentially looking for a second keep, and if they pick up kills, this will be an attempt on the core.
There are a few ways. There are a few ways that Sweden can play this. They can either look for 20 and then look to go for core, or they can just take a second keep. It does look like they are aiming for the keep, and that is going to be enough to get them 20, so they might go for the keep after.
Oh, Dykard gets cleansed! Beautiful play by Hennig. That could have been disastrous if Dykard had died, especially before he could get that Twilight Dream off. Garrosh has taken the long way round, Minions demounting him when he tried to run back.
Sweden playing it safe, backing out with the Dragon Knight. They're going to go secure the top 4. I mean, they may as well when you still have 30%,
yeah.
30 seconds left on the Dragon Knight.
And also the fact that 19 has only just been hit for the Netherlands. They have a bit of time. They can use all of this Dragon Knight and then move into the mid lane and just put some pressure on, seeing if they can grab someone, especially now that ETC has Bolt of the Storm. One of the most all-in talents. He might need it though, and there he goes. Using it as an escape tool. Nice use there.
B-Guy impressive in the game. Huge Horrify.
Ancestral lands on Nuti, Twilight Dream, but Tracer is still able to escape. Sonya's in trouble though, but that Ignore Pain keeping her alive.
The Horrify was huge, but not enough follow-up. Tracer so closely dying, Brightwing so closely dying, even Sonya so closely dying. But the Netherlands, they keep surviving.
The Netherlands are holding on by the skin of their teeth right now, as Team Sweden continue to put pressure on everyone on the map. The best thing about this for the Netherlands, yeah, they blew a couple of heroics, so did Team Sweden though, and the Netherlands now have time to soak for level 20, and with the catapults in mid and bot, the lanes are going to keep pushing up, meaning that they can stay a little bit safer while they clear up. Difference is, Sweden just get all the mercenaries for this.
Yeah, Sweden going around the map, picking up mercenaries, but that's not what you want to do when you have the 20 advantage, let's be honest.
They used Bolt, so they would have had the power slide, they wanted Mosh Pit, they didn't have Ancestral, they didn't have Horrify, they did not want to take the risk, and as such, 20 is just about to be hit by the Netherlands. Even talent, very much not even on structures, and in fact, even if the Netherlands were to win a team fight, they'd either have to go through bot, which is the weaker of the fours, or if they wanted to try and ignore fours, they would have to cross the bridge of death.
Sweden have been playing this entire series very safe, even in the draft phase, but as I always like to say, the safest position to be in is the core on 0% HP.
I mean, that is the least wrong you could possibly be. You are 100% right. As we do see Sweden continue to push in the top lane, putting pressure onto that last keep, and they're going to force ports out here. B-Guy realizing, yep, time to go.
heads-up play by Sweden, predicting, of course, that the Netherlands would be starting that hard camp and backing out before they even see them because they know they had to recall.
So get stuffed coming in for Tracer here. Now, this can be comboed very well with Wrecking Ball if you want to do it, and if not, it's actually a good disengage tool, and of course just the cooldown reduction on that melee when you already have bullet spray is a pretty big deal.
Absolutely. I think the big thing, though, is that Veigar and Malfurion do not have big, instant burst tools. Ancestral's 1 second delay, it's short range, and that's going to mean that if ETC ever gets flipped or Tracer ever gets a flank onto Veigar or Malfurion, then this could be a one-shot before the supports can react.
Brightwing was making the most of Global, but she doesn't see members of the enemy team, making it too risky for her to move on to the objective, so instead they're going to go for bot. They already have control. This just forces Sweden to back away from it and assures their control.
It's a tense situation in this late game. Either team has the potential to make an explosive play and just win the game, but so far both teams playing relatively safe.
Atmos eats more corruption, taking a lot of damage, down to half health there. Brightwing will obviously heal this up over time, though.
Atmos has been playing well overall, but he needs to pay far more attention to where his character is in relation to these ground damage effects. Corruption constantly catching him off guard, but even catapults are poking him for much more than they should be.
Very true, as Atmos clears this up. Corruption will just destroy the minion wave. So effective.
Brightwing back in the top lane.
She's thinking about it, but she doesn't see people. ETC is hiding in the jungle. The hacker is hiding in the jungle. Brightwing, if she was trying with the objective, while not having that vision, she would surely die. Now B-Guy zoning out. There's the use of that extra vision from the Peekaboo there into the fray, even used, and that was a clutch call. That Horrify would have pushed Brightwing into Sweden.
Garrus getting tongued though, he goes in the Indomitable, will save his life, cleanse use for good measure. 6 using get stuffed.
Get stuffed, not enough though, wrong direction, hitting into the wall.
Now, that was a fantastic play by B-Guy. That into the fray saved the Brightwing from being the one that was horrified, and that possibly could have been game over because 2 keeps are down for the Netherlands.
And that is also 2 heroics, because Isolation was burned there as well. Burned for Sweden. And the Netherlands, guess what? They have everything. They are completely prepared. And if they can pick up a kill now, Rask gets another Poison Spear. The Netherlands, for the first time in this particular game, are, or at least in the late game, are in control.
Brightwing still very scared on top.
So cautious, and that's good. Any
be.
risk here can be just game over.
The one time Brightwing overstepped this game, the one time she was instantly punished. And the rest of the game, Zavalos has been playing far away from the minion.
Look at this, immediately vindicated, immediately justified by Scott showing himself in the top lane and clearing up that minion wave while Brightwing pulls back. In the meantime, the rest of the Netherlands, Sonya is still guarding that shrine. The rest of the team grabbing those mercs, making maximum use of that Tracer bullet spray. Here we go though. Here is the double. Here's going to be the double cap for Team Sweden.
So Netherlands not in position. I'd like to see them just take control of mid, make sure Dahaka doesn't get the cap, and then move towards top lane.
Dahaka, beautiful burrow and tunneling claws there. Oh, but again, Stuff pushes it back in. Scott able to move back though. Everyone will push Rask away, prevent the mosh pit. As B-Guy taking so much damage, he is unstoppable. Taz helping him out. Netherlands are so split. Alcomicron might survive thanks to a wrap of the Berserker here. Then into the fray, but this will be B-Guy going down.
Huge play from B-Guy with making Sonya live, but dying himself, and the mosh pit is huge. It gets 2. Brightwing denies the top sign, but I don't think that's going to be enough. I think Sweden can just march at the core.
She denies the objective, but maybe not the game. As Six is doing everything in his power to try and do damage, but it's the damage is too slow. He's trying to weaken down these teams, but with no Emerald win, they have no way to prevent all of this damage dropping onto the core, and that is going to be GG. And Sweden take game number 2 and bring us to a 1-1.
And so far, a back-and-forth series, both teams having fantastic chances to take both games, but Sweden looking the more secure team so far.
They really are, and that was all down to a very scrappy fight by the Netherlands. They positioned exactly how we wanted them to, but they split. The second they split in the fight, Garrosh was basically giving his life for his team, but because they split, Brightwing went top, they said damage dealers one way, supports the other. They weren't able to stay as a group, and even with Horrified down in one case, they weren't able to turn it around.
As well as Big Guy played on the Garrosh, it was not the hero they wanted, and you could tell. The bans from Sweden getting huge amounts of value.
Yeah, oftentimes you get the feeling that if you play on a warrior that doesn't have initiation spells or disengage spells, excuse me, and if you get caught like that, your entire team gets punished super hard. Also, what I wanted to highlight is the fact that Dehaka is a global hero that can dominate and hold shrine points, whereas Brightwing is not. So I think the overall global potential was way stronger for Team Sweden.
So, what do you got to show us from that last game?
All right, so we're starting the game with a tricky play, but one play that cannot be underestimated. It was super early on. We're going to take a look at Malfurion. And we see here, it's super early, level 3. The Dragon Knight is being hovered over, but look at the bottom left corner. Malfurion buying so much time. Henning doing a wonderful job. Daikarn, excuse me. Just pop the Moonfire, boop, pop it again, and buy enough time for one of your side lanes to basically get control back over the shrine. And the fact that he also made it out alive was just the icing on the cake. So oftentimes, long distance poke from heroes like, let's say, a Zarya or a Malfurion on maps like Cursed Hollow or Dragonshire can be so crucial to really prevent enemy snowballing early on.
Yeah, especially on maps, like you said, on the maps like Cursed Hollow or Dragonshire, where you have those channels.
Exactly.
Any long-range denial is going to be important. What else you got?
Exactly. For play number 2, we're actually going to take a look at Dehaka and how he dominated team fights thanks to his global ability. Now, we see a fight break down in the middle here. 6 is dropping low. B-Guy in a lot of trouble, and we can already see Dehaka is making his move here in the bottom lane, coming through the bush with movement speed, and now that Garrosh has fallen, he just takes the easiest target to acquire. That is Zavlash on the Brightwing. Limited mobility available, and with that being said, I mean, one Dehaka makes all the difference here, but once again, we saw the difficulties on that Garrosh. Once he's caught, I mean, sure, he's a tanky beast with all that armor and the Tassler shields, but if you can only run that fast, you know, it's not going to get you out of the danger zone.
Yeah, and the Garrosh, like Bakery said at the start, might not have been the preferable option.
Yeah.
The Dehaka might not have been the preferable option. Difference is that Dehaka was absolutely made to work all throughout this series. What have you got for us last?
All right, we're going to take a look at the very last team fight that decided the game in favor of Team Sweden. We see here B-Guy. Look at him. He's trying to go for the Dehaka, but once again, so elusive, so hard to catch, and despite all that damage coming in, nobody saw that tongue, by the way, despite all that damage coming in from Tracer, it is just not enough. Zavlash with a good reaction, but he takes the full corruption into the ice block, though, so he's safe for now. And once again, there's only so much Atmos can do on that Tassler. Shields have a pretty significant cooldown these days, and he also has to watch the Tracer. She's actually the top lane right now. She can't join the fight, and there's just too many construction shines, if you will, and Atmos can't take care of them all here. Now, no way for Garrosh to survive. Both frontliners are feared, and from here, it just goes from bad to worse for Team Netherlands. Beautiful zoning ending, finishing Marshia by Rask as well, and this is the all-dominating team fight. Brightwing in the top lane tries to prevent the Dragon Knight, tries to get a shrine, but hey, they don't even need the Dragon Knight at this point, Team Sweden that is. They just walk in right through the middle and end the game.
Once again, between these two teams, back and forth. Both of these teams are just taking different scenarios from each other over and over again, but that's 2 times now where Sweden have been winning the early and mid game, and then the Netherlands, in this case, very nearly turned it around with some of the kills, and in the last game, did turn it round. So the fact is, Sweden maybe need to potentially work on their late game a little bit more, but right now, Netherlands, they need to start getting some of those early game objectives.
And I think it is time for Team Netherlands to question themselves, how much attention do we actually put on the Gul'dan, excuse me? Is it really worth banning, or do they just have to switch their playstyle, go for a more pressuring warrior like the Murden, for example, like an EDC? I think Garrosh in this late game especially looked very unimpactful against Gul'dan.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Gul'dan has been such a huge hero in this entire series. Canuti making the plays. I think it's time to ban it.
I would potentially agree with you, but we will be having a very quick break before we go into that next series. So then we will be discussing whether the Gul'dan does get banned or not when we get back. For now, though, guys, don't go anywhere. We will be back with game number 3 of Sweden versus the Netherlands.